Welcome back, everybody. I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas and a great, safe New Year. Well, today we are going to get into bridges. So, first thing we need to do to create custom bridges is enable some cheats. So, by now you should all know how to get your cheat window up, but if you don't, it's Control Shift C on most PCs. And we're just going to turn Move Objects on. We're going to enable the two build cheats, BB Show Hidden Objects and BB Show Live Edit Objects. So these are the two cheats that allow you to access the debug menu. There are a few different ways we can do custom bridges. First, we're going to go into the debug menu, and I just want to show you, if you click over here, you can actually filter through much easier by packs, content, styles, and this will help you, especially if you have a lot of expansion packs. It will help you find some of the objects. So I'm just going to go with base game for now. As you can see, there are lots of items in the debug menu if this is your first time using it. These are the rocks that you'll see many builders use. Yeah, so let's jump on in. These are two of the bridges that are in base game, already built. So because they are debug objects, they're not functional yet. If you raise it up like this to try and meet the bridge, it's just going to raise the foundation and it will not work. So we need to copy or get another piece of floor, go up a level, drop it on top. That way you're left with what should look like this. We're going to get the bottom piece of floor and remove it. Now you can move this floating piece of floor wherever you need it to be to match whatever the bridge is. As you can see, I did it off to the side and I dragged it across. The reason for that is if you have to make alterations, sometimes it can move the bridge and it won't line up anymore. So it's always best to do it off to the side and just drag it over the bridge. Always place the bridge first. And that goes for most debug items if you're using them, because as you can see, once they disappear underneath, it's very hard to click on them again. So once you've got it in place, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can always hide it, any of the bits that might not line up exactly. We're going to add some stairs, as you normally would. It should just snap. You can have it raised up above if you want your own flooring. So say you don't want what's on the bridge. You could raise it up slightly to then be able to paint that floor and have it whatever you choose. Otherwise, you can lower it down just below the bridge. It will still be functional, but you may see that the Sims legs will be slightly in the bridge when they walk. So the graphics, or the animation I should say, might not be on point. If you're using a different bridge, it's the same process. Do it toward the side, and of course copy that, place it on top, remove the bottom piece so you have a floating floor. Drag it across the debug item or bridge, and from here lower it down. Now as you can see, when I grab that bridge and try to move it, it registers that as being a second story and will try to snap to it. So if it was out of line and you needed to move it, you have to drop down that level, because as you can see, it will snap on top. Now this particular bridge, you can see it's kind of flickering there. That's because the foundation actually sits at the right height. Again, up to you whether you go one below, so it's just the bridge as it is as a debug object that you can see, or you can go one above if you want the flooring to be different. It can be a bit fiddly. It depends on your personal taste and how picky you are, I guess, as to where you want it to sit. But there's no hard and fast rules with everything in The Sims. It's really up to personal taste. So if you don't mind the flickering every now and then, you could leave it sitting like this, if that is what you choose. Otherwise, you could go up, down. You can have the stairs further out, like that, if you want it to sort of line up with the edges a bit more. It's just a matter of trial and error, really, until you get it to be exactly how you want. But this is the basis of pretty much every bridge that you can create. These two are just base game. Obviously, if you've got packs and you go through the debug menu for those packs, a lot of them will have other bridges that you can use as well. The process is the same. Now, as you can see, if you wanted to put water under it or change the terrain underneath, it is going to move that bridge. So it is usually best to do it beforehand. That way, once you place that debug bridge, you don't really want to move it again. Because as you can see, it makes it go a bit silly. If you have done it and you've put a lot of work in and you really don't want to start again, the easy fix is to just raise the object up, holding Control and using 9 or 0 to raise that object up or down back into the spot you want it. The best thing about building custom bridges is that you can pretty much do anything you want. So this one here, if we put some water in that hole that I've created, all it takes is a little bit of greenery, shrubs, bushes. You can use more debug objects if you choose, just something to fill in the gaps and hide those little imperfections if you're that way inclined, if you feel like you need to have it nice and neat and tidy. Some people don't mind so much. But yeah, it's really then up to you to make it your own. So adding in some plants usually is a good way to sort of perk it up a bit, make it look a bit more natural. Yeah, so these are how you can create custom bridges with the debug items. There is another way to create custom bridges. If you don't like the look of the pre-existing debug bridges, you can create your own. Same process, you need to have that floating floor piece, which you can then adjust to make it whatever you like. These bridges are good if you want to, let's say, connect to buildings, or if you want to have a little bit of a bridge over a pool, for example. So let's go with that one. We'll draw a pool in. And again, a lot of it is personal taste. The basics remain the same, and that is floating floor, raising it to the height that you want, and having stairs that connect it to the ground level on either side. That's it. It is as simple as that. You can do a number of things from here to decorate or finalize your bridge. You can just go for fencing. You could even use half walls if you wanted to kind of make the edges of the bridge. So let's just use this one, for example. And that could be your bridge. If you wanted to do something a little different or try something a little bit more tricky, we can go to the debug menu again, and based on what packs you have, there are a lot of different objects. We'll go with the base game again because everybody has these, and you can pretty much utilize anything you see in here to create the edges for your bridge or to decorate it in whatever way you see fit. So you could use this, one of my favorite debug items. It is so multifunctional. You can use it for just about anything. You can shrink it up and down. If you're not sure on how to do all the tricky things like shrinking and enlarging objects or raising them up and down or anything like that, follow the link in the top right hand corner now. That will take you to my build mode basic video, which will explain all those little hidden tricks. But yeah, there are so many things in here that you could use. I would really encourage you to take the time, if you haven't already, to sit down and filter through some of these debug objects. They really can make the difference between a average build and an exceptional one. A lot of times when you see builds on the gallery, you look at them and go, oh my god, how did that look so good? How did that even come to be? A lot of times it turns out to be debug objects or things that have been layered on top of each other. Otherwise, it's usually the tool mod. I don't have the tool mod, I don't use mods. So for me, it's usually a lot of layering and a lot of debug objects. So you could get fancy and add this to the side, put a bit of greenery around it perhaps, and it just gives it a whole new look. So yeah, I would really encourage you to jump on, have a go with the debug items, and play around with it, see what you can come up with. I may even, now sitting here doing this, I kind of feel the urge to create a challenge based on bridges. If that is something that you would like to participate in and you think that that's a cool idea, please drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts on that, because if there is enough interest, I might very well do that. But yeah, debug objects, lifesavers, opening up so many opportunities to make so many different bridges and heaps of other things too, like really get creative with it. So that is how you can create custom bridges like this. Thanks for watching my video, guys. If you enjoyed what you saw and you want to see more, make sure you subscribe and also click on that notification bell so you don't miss out on new content. You can also check me out on my socials.